Hey, friendo, Steve here.
And Larson.
And welcome back to Going in Raw, the only pro wrestling podcast you need to be listening to. On this episode of Going in Raw, we're going to be talking about last night's Monday Night Raw fallout from Elimination Chamber. What did Sami Zayn have to say? What did Cody Rhodes have to say? What's going on in the world of WWE? A bunch of matches are panning out. We got a bunch of backstage details from a lot of what was going on the road now. The final road, excuse me, to WrestleMania. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started. Obviously, the
40
first
days
thing,
away from WrestleMania, Steve. Yesterday,
39 now. Yeah, yesterday
39.
was 40.
Countdown is on.
Yeah, and of course, the big thing coming out of Elimination Chamber, the internet wrestling community wants their Sami Zayn in the main event of WrestleMania. I appreciate, just off the bat, Larson, that they are moving on with their story.
Yes.
And I didn't hear one, like, nobody, the way they are approaching this and kind of divorcing the audience's expectation, or if anybody out there in the audience is interested in Sami Zayn in the main event of WrestleMania, they're not even addressing it. They're moving on with their story. I think they're really confident with what they have coming up. What we saw last night with Sami and Kevin Owens, I liked, and I'm interested to see where it goes.
Yeah, I'm happy they just didn't have, excuse me, sorry, tea down the wrong pipe. Kevin Owens come out and have the reconciliation be easy and quick, because that wouldn't make any sense. There's a story to be told here, so tell the story, take your time. Hell, maybe they don't have that embraced final reconciliation till WrestleMania when they win the titles. I don't know. It could be simply a thing where Sami continues to make his appeals to Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens is like, fine, I'll do it, but I ain't doing this for you. I'm doing this for me.
Yeah.
But who knows where the story goes. We thought there might be a situation, we talked about it yesterday, where Sami would be on the mic and more or less say, I couldn't get the job done. Cody maybe can. So best of luck, Cody, or something like that. Give Cody some sort of endorsement. Didn't happen. They just they seemingly separated that little crossover we had with Cody and Sami, where Cody just had his own segment with Heyman. Sami seemingly concentrated on not necessarily beating Roman, but taking down the bloodline and realizing after Elimination Chamber, I can't do this myself. I need help. I'm going to turn to the one person I feel like maybe I can turn to.
Yeah.
Someone who's been my best friend off and on for the past 20 years, Kevin Owens. Of course, not going to be an easy path to make that happen. No, I think in terms of handling the Sami stuff, they did a good job. Mm-hmm. I don't necessarily think you needed him to endorse Cody.
I don't. Yeah, the way they're telling the story, you don't. And on top of that, come on, like, There didn't seem to be much revolt against Cody Rhodes last night based on what happened. Sami understood he lost against the bloodline. The bloodline is strong. Like the way they approach getting Roman Reigns those wins. Roman Reigns will win because of Jimmy. What happened with Jay obviously didn't pan out the way I think Roman had wanted it to, but Roman always finds a way, and Sami was well aware of that. That's what we got last week in the promo with Cody Rhodes. He was well aware of that. However, him saying, hey, I'm moving on, his motivation is to basically make the bloodline crumble, and that doesn't necessarily mean he's got to win the titles. If he wins the titles, but the bloodline's still strong, mission failed, right?
Yeah.
His thing is bringing the bloodline down, and he thought he could solicit his best friend's help with that, and Kevin Owens says, no, I'm not going to do that. You can ask your buddy Jay, which I thought was a really good line.
Yeah.
But no, you're right. And what I like about this is that you got to accomplish several things. If Cody Rhodes is going to beat Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, he's got to do it in a way that doesn't feel like he needed help from Sami Zayn, because then it's going to look weak for him. All he needs is a level playing field, because trying to get against the bloodline, trying to win one against the bloodline, as we've seen over the past couple of years, is impossible because the field is never level. Mm-hmm. And so if Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, but mainly Sami Zayn, if Sami Zayn can accomplish that task, leveling the playing field for Cody Rhodes, you don't need Cody Rhodes soliciting help from Sami Zayn, or even Sami Zayn, teaming up in some way, shape, or form with Cody Rhodes. Cody's his own guy. Mm-hmm. He's got to do this on his own. But if Sami's able to level that playing field for him, separate from Cody beating Roman fair and square, Cody comes out strong. Sammy's accomplished his mission. And then hopefully Jay will get whatever piece he needs in the process, however this story is going to play out with him as well.
Yeah, totally. And part of me still thinks that we're going to get, the finish, the match at Mania is going to be overbooked. It's going to be
it has to be. Yeah,
attempted interference. Everybody kind of making their choice. Assuming the Usos lose their titles, everybody's got to be faced with a moment where they got to decide: am I going to pursue my career for me, or am I going to do it so Roman can achieve whatever he wants to achieve? Everybody's got to have that choice, seemingly at the end of WrestleMania. Mm-hmm. That's not to say that there is an alliance of sort between Cody and Sami and Kevin Owens going into the show that they're going to collude to make sure that the bloodline gets taken down. No, that ain't going to happen. Cody's got his own thing he's doing. He's got his own story he needs to finish. And Sami and eventually Kevin, they have their own goals and their own story that they need to finish. Not to say that we won't see Sami and Kevin maybe make appearances at the end of WrestleMania. It's entirely possible. But it's not going to be like an orchestrated thing where Cody is going to be like, hey, I need you guys to have my back here. I'd be shocked if that happens.
Yeah. No, dude, you look at what Triple H is trying to accomplish with a lot, but especially with the bloodline. And it would not shock me at all if he already knew how that finish was going to go down at WrestleMania. It really wouldn't. The way they're telling this, and it's a matter of pacing during the actual episodes, where the placement during the actual episodes. You had Sami open it up. He said, you know what? I tried. I failed. There's a guy I got to talk to. And it's Kevin Owens. I want to say, look, I want to make amends. I'm sorry. And thank you. And Kevin Owens says, I didn't do this for you. I did it for my family. I did it for me. I did it for your family. So they didn't have to witness what my family had to go through. I did it for everybody but you. And so that drama right there is now the intrigue. That's the story. You're right. I think the hug shouldn't come until they've accomplished whatever goal they're setting out to accomplish.
Yeah.
And so that story itself, that's out of the way, right? We know now that Sami has a new objective in mind. It's not the titles. And then later on in the show, you have Cody, and you set him up with this continual thing with the best promo maybe in the history of wrestling, Paul Heyman, full on with the neck brace. He's not coming down to the ring. He's up on the Tron, the further distance there. There's nothing warm about this anymore. And he makes it even worse by diving into some vulgarities with as it pertains to Cody's wife, which if I've ever wanted to see Brandy Rhodes on my screen, it's at this point for her to confront Paul Heyman, because I think there could be some cool stuff there.
Yeah.
I always appreciated Brandy, to be honest with you. I thought she was great. I thought especially during their heel run in New Japan. That so one good. Press conference was absolutely hilarious. They did
so good.
But yeah, dude, I think that the way that they are approaching the expectations that certain fans have, I think that it's a vocal minority. I think that they're telling the story in a manner that it's pretty impressive, with playing with our expectations, giving us what we want, and moving on.
Yeah, I mean, I think in a lot of cases, we kind of know what the outcome is going to be.
Yeah,
but if you make the journey there interesting enough, people aren't going to complain, or at least not too many people are going to complain about it being predictable.
Yeah, right.
Because the journey was worth it.
Yeah,
it was worth getting to that destination.
Yeah.
Elsewhere on Raw, during an episode, an edition of Ding Dong Hello, Becky and Lita challenge for the women's tag titles. That match is happening next week. Apparently, according to Fightful Select, Trish Stratus was initially set to appear on Raw last night and was at the venue, but then left prior to Ding Dong Hello due to a creative change. I wonder if maybe the initial idea was just to immediately set up the 6-woman tag for Mania. But then they thought, oh, wait, let's have the tag title match next week. Bayley's obviously going to interfere.
Yeah.
To keep Becky and Lita from winning. Trish comes out to even the odds. Then they make the 6-woman tag match for WrestleMania.
Yeah, it seems like that's going to be the case. Do we know? I did not look at the schedule or whatever. Do we know where they are next week? Are they still in Canada next week?
I don't know.
Because I feel like if you want to do Trish, let me look. Here's the thing. wherever they are in Canada. If they're in Canada, there's going to be a massive pop.
So I think on March.
Oh, they're in Michigan. That's right. That's
right.
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah.
Grand
Rapids, Michigan. That's right.
Thank you, Chad. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, look, regardless, Trish is going to get a big pop. It's a shame that it wasn't a Canadian pop, but it seems like what's happening. What's kind of interesting about that is how would you then get to if they do Ronda and Shayna for the tag titles?
I mean, the possibility exists that they do. I don't know if it's going to happen.
Yeah, well, any answer is a good answer.
They maybe do that before WrestleMania and have Ronda and Shayna either win or not win the tag titles. So if they win, they go in the Mania as tag champs. But if they don't win, then maybe they feud and have a match between the two of them at WrestleMania. And then Shayna gets a win over Ronda.
That could be. Yeah, that could be. I'm trying to think of like a big, because if they, so I do think that the finish is going to be wonked next week.
And then they could do the thing where they have Damage Control versus Ronda and Shayna on SmackDown or something. They want to build heat to the Mania match. They have Becky, Lita, and Trish cost Damage Control the tag titles.
Or, because they're supposed to be good guys, Bayley tries to interfere in that match as well, and then Becky is the neutralizer. Shayna and Ronda end up winning, and then Damage Control and Bayley are then free to do, a titleless six-man tag at Mania. Yeah, that's a possibility. That could be. Well, I guess we'll find out more on SmackDown, where the tag division in the women's tag division is going to be headed. Also, last night, as we kind of figured, Finn Balor ended up costing Edge his U.S. title. What would this have been, like his 32nd title? in WWE history.
32nd or 33rd, yeah.
I thought I heard 31 was the number that he was at last night.
Yeah, I thought I heard that last night too, but I thought 32 was the number.
Okay,
before, but
whatever it is. Edge wanted one more title during this run.
Well, that's why he came back,
Yeah, and then Finn Balor comes out. So it seems like, the last thing they could possibly do with this is do Demon Balor, Purple Demon Balor. Fightful Select is reporting also that Finn was set to assume his alter ego, the Demon, at the Rumble in a Hell in a Cell match with Edge before that match was scrapped. Do you think we're going to see the Demon at WrestleMania, Larson?
In that same Fightful report, I believe there's people, they mentioned that the people backstage in WWE don't necessarily think the Demon persona works for this iteration of Finn, which I agree with. But that's not to say that they seemingly appreciate the spectacle that comes with Demon Balor. I've never really been that huge into Demon Balor personally, because beyond the aesthetic change, not a whole lot of change in terms of he actually approaches the matches, other than he I don't know, his mannerisms are slightly different. That's about it.
Honestly, I think that look, WrestleMania is all about spectacle. If it's the same Finn, but he just dresses himself up in some really cool demon type shit, then I think that'd be cool. And he can call it the Demon just to up the odds. But like you said, there isn't much of a difference. And so I know that there's supposed to be another level. He unlocks this thing or whatever, but
more aggressive or something like that.
But evidently he can't stop the ring ropes from breaking. Like the last time we saw him, which was silly as hell.
For that ever,
I mean, that should have buried the character in the first place.
You'd think so.
But no, I don't know. Like a jazzed up purple version of the current Finn with the Demon. I think that could be cool just from a visual aesthetic standpoint, and to make it feel a little bit bigger.
So if they do this, if they do something that's in the spirit of Demon Balor without calling it Demon Balor, something that's more in line with Judgment Day.
Mm-hmm.
And so, it's an aesthetic change with the ideas like, okay, I'm amping up the intensity. This is a huge match at WrestleMania. Like, keep a lot of the demon elements. Just don't call it Demon Balor, Yeah,
but here's the thing. That's the selling point, though. It's the Demon.
Yeah, I think the selling point is the intricacy of the body paint and the spectacle of the entrance. I think that's what it is.
Well, it depends on what you
call
mean
it
by
something else.
It depends on what you mean by selling point. I mean, people like, oh, it's gonna when people are standing around their water cooler, they're at the wrestling parties, Larson, and they're like, hey, did you hear it's gonna be Demon Balor? That's the thing. It's like, oh man, he's kicking it up a notch.
That's the
razzle
reference
dazzle.
point. That's the reference point for the razzle dazzle. You could change it to, I don't know, what's something that's more in line with Judgment Day. I don't know. Just a different
Balor.
adjective.
Judge Balor.
Whatever. If it's the same thing, they call it a different thing. I think the idea is that they're going to still be talking about it because the spectacle is what it is, not necessarily
if he actually calls it something else, that'd be kind of cool. Yeah, Judge Balor.
Yeah, something like that.
You're welcome to the People's Court.
He comes out with a powdered wig.
Yeah,
he's got the robe on.
Yeah,
you know?
the magistrate Balor.
Yeah, there you go, magistrate Balor.
Like that. That's good. Yeah. Whatever it is, I think we're gonna get whatever that is. And as long as Judgment Day stays the same. By the way, I can't wait to see Rhea. Could you imagine? It'd be kind of. I'll be honest with you. What if Judgment Day? They're already big on the theatrics. That's the thing that's so great about Judgment Day. They're big on theatrics, but they're all just kind of normal scumbags.
I know.
I know. That's what's kind of awesome about it. And I think it'd be neat if they all sort of demoned up a little bit in terms of their visuals at WrestleMania. I think that like Rhea. Like a demon sort of aesthetic of Rhea would be amazing. Mm-hmm. What do they call her? The Eradicator? Oh man, what a great name.
Yeah.
So yeah, add all that razzle dazzle, and that's what we're gonna get at WrestleMania.
Except for Dom.
What would
Dom
you do with
needs
Dom?
to come out in the same gear. No, same gear.
Same thing he does.
He needs the off-white flannel.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
The exact same.
Yeah. Okay. I like it. That's good. So yeah. Anyways, before we get started into the show, wanted to mention also channel members and patrons of $5 and up. This Friday, we've got a new episode of Overrun. We're going to be doing, I don't even know what we're going to be doing for Overrun, but
it's the Numbers Don't Lie on the
well, I was about to say, I didn't know what we were going to do for the topic of Overrun, but we're also doing the Numbers Don't Lie for the Hardys. But yeah, we haven't decided like what topic, we usually do, I don't know, 10 things that need to happen in this show, but we did that last time with the.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. We'll think of something.
No, we didn't even do that. We didn't even do that last time.
No, we didn't do it.
We didn't do one
last
before
time.
Elimination Chamber.
Yeah,
we'll look at something.
Wonky.
We'll look at some. We'll do something.
We'll do something.
So yeah, bonus episodes every week for Overrun channel members, $5 and up, and also excitingly, we've got AEW Revolution coming up in March, and more exciting than the actual pay-per-view will be the Predictions Challenge. Big Red, the digital Big Red, is back up on the line. Moses opposes. Will he be dethroned? Will the single point that myself and two other people, I forget their name,
Dwayne Huff and Antoine Gomez.
Yeah, Dwayne and Antoine. Will that matter? Will that come into play? We don't know. But if you're a new channel member or a patron at $5 and up, I'm sorry, not a new channel member, a channel member at all.
Period. Yes.
Period. You can participate in that, so it should be a lot of fun.
Speaking of channel members, we got a new channel member here on YouTube, Jonathan Vieira. Thank you.
Man, we had a bunch of new channel members join overnight. Jeremy Kreklau, Kiddo Hudson, Brian Grassman, Berwin A. Vargas, Daniel Carpenter, Craig Hadley, Lord Corgi, the anonymous, who is this? Oh, that's going to make me click on the thing. The anonymous Goonhausen, Chris Ozshik, Zach Beckett, Seth Iroth, Brian Moore, Roy Costin, Mr. Higglesby, Holloway, Addis Davis Jr. All members, all new members. I think those are all new members.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you so much.
One of them, Zach, rejoined. He's been a member for 4 months, but all the rest of them are new. We're at 230. We're at 232 channel members now, on the road to 250, and then eventually
300.
Road to, well, I was going to just skip ahead to 500. 500 is a good.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a good number next,
And then 1,000 after that, just continuously doubling up.
Yeah, right, exactly. 1,000, 10,000, et cetera, et cetera. Oh, man, another one right here at Lucci Club Studios. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
We appreciate it. So, yeah, Raw opened up with Sami Zayn. Whoa. Let's go. So, anyways, he comes out. Crowd starts chanting, ole, 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 ole. He says, I'm feeling a lot of feelings here, guys. He's very emotional. He says, after these past couple days, that one feeling that comes to the fore is gratitude. The ovation I've gotten just now from you have no idea what that means to me. Thank you so much. He says, for me, another thing I feel after coming so close to putting a storybook ending and coming up just short, I feel a lot of guilt. I feel like I let people down. Everybody said, finish the story. I thought I didn't, but after the past couple days, I realized, especially around here,
wink, wink.
The story is never over. He says, however, we are entering the final chapter. The final chapter is not just about me. There's one person I need to talk to more than anyone else. So, Kevin Owens, come on down.
Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun.
Yeah, it wasn't like it wasn't the Price is Right music, but that's better.
Okay, I tried to do a WB forced amalgam of the two songs.
No, I like it, man. Yeah, that's good. That's a Def Rebel thing there.
Yeah. So Kevin Owens comes to the ring. He grabs the mic. A bunch of KO chants, and Sami says, "There's so much I wanted to say, but now that you're here, I don't know what I want to say. I guess thank you. I want to say I'm sorry, but we are past the point of words at this point, and things have gotten really messy. There's some things you said and I said. I don't know how we're going to work through all that. There's a lot we said and done here, and I don't know if we can come back from it. You said there's only the one thing that you care about, and that's taking down the bloodline. I know you won't stop in that mission, but I also have a mission. I won't rest until I see that Roman, the bloodline, come crumbling down. Here's the thing. You couldn't do it alone, and I couldn't. But I do think there's one way to get it done, and that's if we do it together. So the crowd starts chanting. Together.
Yeah, they all want to see it, man. But Kevin Owens, he finally, talks up. He says, I don't need an apology or gratitude. He says, Saturday, what I did had nothing to do with you. I did it for my family because they were in the front row. But at the Rumble, they had to see me get the hell beaten out of me while you stood there and did nothing. He says, I did it for your family so they wouldn't have to see you get beaten like I was. I've fought them on my own for months, and that's how I'm going to keep fighting them. I meant everything I said back in November. I told you I was done with you, and that stands. But if you need help taking down the bloodline, just ask your buddy Jay. And then, the crowd did not like that, man.
No,
they gasped at the J line, and then they were like, boo, you're not giving us what we want. We want to see you be friendly.
Yeah. And Kevin Owens' performance here was great because he stood there. What I liked is so he walks in the ring and grabs the mic and kind of looks like he's approaching Sami almost. So Sami gets closer. And then Kevin Owens veers off towards the corner.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't want to be close to Sami.
Yeah, right.
Physically, in the ring. And because he thought maybe, well, if I get close to Sami and Sami steps up to me, is he going to try to do the hug or something? I don't want that. I want him to know right away what I said earlier, I meant it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But there's always a subtext of what Kevin is saying too is what he's saying is part of the reason he did what he did. But also kind of felt like maybe he did do it a little bit.
He did do it for Sami. Yeah, 1,000%. He wasn't going to help him win the title because he's like, that's too much. But yeah, 1,000% he did it for Sami. Number one, he probably has all sorts of leftover guilt from all the shit that he's put Sami through. Mm-hmm. But yeah, of course he did. But he's not going to say that to him.
No,
he's hurt. He's hurt.
Yeah, the character of Kevin Owens feels somewhat responsible for Sami taking this path because you remember it was back at that match against Shane McMahon where Sami turned heel to help Kevin Owens.
Mm-hmm.
And set Sami on this path he's on.
Mm-hmm. Well, from day one,
matter of guilt. Yeah.
From day one when he set foot in NXT, powerbombed his ass on the apron.
Yep.
Man, yeah, no, dude, this relationship is so complex that, you take what Kevin Owens says as surface, but deep down, he knows that what he said in November is impossible.
Yeah.
There is no way, while they're in the same company, you can separate yourself from him. You are joined at the hip, whether you want to be or not. And there might be times when he really doesn't want to be, but it's inevitable. That's the beauty of this relationship because they're family. What do they say? You get to choose your friends, can't choose your family.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They're not actually family, but they're basically family.
Yeah, basically. So Kevin Owens leaves, and then they show some replays. Sami walks up the stage and thanks the crowd. Baron Corbin runs down behind him. Whoop-ha. Lays him out from behind. So we go to picture-in-picture, and Baron's still beating up on Sami Zayn. Eventually, refs, Adam Pearce, come out to break it up. We get back to the live show, and they're all helping Sami up. And Baron's in the ring, and he's on the mic. And he says, well, Sami, how do you feel after you interrupted me last week, coming out here crying about all your insecurities, how you didn't think that you deserved to be in the same ring as Roman? Sami, you didn't. And I should know, considering I was the last person to beat Roman. Roman destroyed you in front of your family and friends, and this tonight was just pathetic. You begged for Kevin Owens to come out here, and then he left. And then Corbin says, Sami, look at me. Look at me. Your story is over. You embarrassed yourself. You embarrassed your hometown and all of Canada because you are a complete and utter failure. So at this point, Sami's up, and he's trying to get to the ring as Corbin's talking trash. Not that last line, Adam Pearce steps aside and tells Sami, go on ahead. Go to the ring.
Have at it. Yeah.
So Sami sprints down the ring. He lays out Corbin, clotheslines him out, and he's like, match now.
Yeah.
So then we got the match.
You know, dude, it's such a simple thing that we didn't get pre Triple H. And that's just good guys doing badass things. You know what I mean? Like, I love this. And I know we got the exact same thing last week when Corbin was backstage talking shit about Cody, and Cody walks by and then he attacks Baron Corbin. This was a bit of the inverse. Corbin this time attacks Sami Zayn. Yeah. But the result is the same. We end up with a match on a guy that everybody likes to see get beat up, Baron Corbin, because they have Baron dole out a ton of punishment. He gets a deep six in, tries for an end of days, can't hit it. The other guy wins. But no, I love this. It's like you want to see these guys in action. You want to see what they can do. You want to see them beat people up, because that's what wrestling is supposed to be about at the end of the day.
Far too often, Vince would book his baby faces being complete and utter pushovers.
Yeah, right. Yeah, yeah.
And
inactive
or reactive, and that's hard to root for.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, sometimes in the world of wrestling, you know, you're totally justified to bring the fight to somebody.
And as some people in chat here are pointing out, it helps Baron too. You know, I know he's getting killed every week, but he's getting killed by top guys. But this is much better than just listening to JBL talk for 5 minutes.
Oh, I know. And Baron's bringing up a good point. He was the last person to beat Roman.
Yeah.
That's his bona fides right there. I know it happened 3 years ago, but still.
Hey, yeah. So yeah, we had that match. Of course, Sami Zayn wins. I actually loved the finish. Baron Corbin was running this way, and Sami followed him and hit him a looping kick from behind. Yeah. That was really awesome. So he wins that match. Then we have a Rhea Ripley interview. She's backstage. Hey, let me ask you, just to pause here really quick. Now we're talking about Baron Corbin. We've seen this 2 weeks in a row. The two top guys in the company beat him up. What do you do with Baron going forward? Because clearly they understand there is an issue here and we need to get it solved, and him attacking people and being a straight up bad guy is the correct path. But in terms of putting him in like a story of some sort, what would you do?
I mean, I feel like that he's kind of been stuck in the same cycle of being obnoxious jerk that everybody in the crowd enjoys seeing, being humiliated and getting their ass kicked. I get that.
Yeah.
But it's kind of it's various iterations of the same thing.
Who's a babyface that he can win against that people really like that isn't super high on the totem pole? Everybody's sort of like tweeners, aren't they? Like, I love Judgment Day, but they're clearly bad guys.
Yeah.
Mustafa Ali's kind of a jerk.
It's a situation where Corbin's kind of like feuded with everybody.
Yeah, he has been put through everybody.
Yeah.
He needs to beat somebody up bad. You know, that's always a good inciting incident, is like when somebody just gets beat to hell. Yeah. And then it gets all that heat on Baron Corbin. Ricochet. Hey, Ricochet's not terrible. He could take a beating. He's a great sell too.
Yeah.
Anyways, I don't know. Rhea Ripley had an interview after that. She's got Dom with him. Byron is asking the questions. He asks her about the chamber, and she says, "You know, the last thing I'm going to say about that, me and Beth have unfinished business, but I'm not focusing on that. I'm focusing on WrestleMania." And Byron wants to keep pushing the chamber stuff, and Dom says, "No one wants to talk about those has-beens, okay? Just like my dad." He said, "Keep talking, and I'm going to show you what happens when I was locked up to people who talk too much." You continue. Got to let my cat out again.
Sure. And so Byron asked about Charlotte, and Rhea says she can keep living in 2020 and not 2023. She refused to believe that right now I am the best bloody woman here in WWE, and the only lesson is that I'm not going to make the same mistake. She wants to put me in my place. Good. My place is on top of her crumbling kingdom, and I'll be the new SmackDown Women's Champion. And then she says, I'm going to be on SmackDown on Friday. And Dom says, you know what? I'll tag along because I know my dad has a match as well on the show.
Yeah. They're totally going to do Dom versus
They got
Bray.
it.
Man, they have to do that at Mania.
They have to.
Yeah. Oh, that's gonna be good. God, I love when he brings up his dad. It's my favorite thing.
Oh, just out of nowhere, I know.
Yeah.
Just
there
like
are a couple of
has-beens.
just like my dad.
Then we got Dolph taking on Mustafa Ali. There's this backstage.
Did you just do the Theory interview?
Oh, I skipped the Theory interview. Sorry. Next we had Theory interview.
Theory was whispering interview, yeah.
Yeah, so Kathy Kelly is interviewing him, asking how he feels tonight after the Chamber. And he says, I'm banged up, but here I am like I always am because I'm the champ. I stepped in with 5 of the best in WWE, including Seth Rollins, and I put him down like I said I would. But what's bothering me is the headline. It isn't Austin Theory is the future. It's John Cena's coming back in a couple of weeks. Who cares? Where's my respect? I have an open challenge accepted by Edge because I get to beat Edge in crappy Canada. Continue my forever reign, and my legacy will stand over everyone because I won't lose. How's that for a headline?
Oh, so he mentioned open challenge. He mentioned John Cena.
Uh-huh.
And did he mention WrestleMania? Probably. No, he didn't mention WrestleMania.
No, he didn't mention WrestleMania, but
that's
coming
up.
Happen.
That's
going to
happen.
face John Cena at WrestleMania, 1,000%.
Yeah. He's got to win that match too, right?
You'd think so.
He's got to win that match. John Cena's not going to be U.S. champion. After that, I like this because so we got Dolph Ziggler versus Mustafa Ali. We had like a little promo thing with them, sort of exploring why this match is going down. And once again, they're hanging out for some reason. And Dolph is trying to explain to Ali. He's like, man, you just don't get it. You got to, whatever the reasoning was. He says, but you know what? You're not going to get it until somebody beats it into you. He's trying to explain to him how to win. He says, you're not going to understand until somebody beats it into you. And so they have a match. And freaking Mustafa Ali wins here because he goes, it was that awesome bit where Dolph goes for a famouser and Mustafa Ali is able to, like, instead of his head getting sent down, he gets his hands up. So he does like a handstand instead. Yeah. He's able to counter it. And then he gets like a crucifix pin to get the win. And Ali is like he just won the main event of WrestleMania. Yeah. He's running around. He's like, oh, I won. I proved you wrong. I know what I'm talking about and you don't.
Yeah.
Finally, this story, this feud here has a little bit of meat to it, man.
Yeah, it does. Because backstage during that bit, Ali's like, oh, what do I got to do, Dolph? Do I got to take my vitamins? Do I have to drink my milk? Is that how I get the win?
Because Dolph is giving him a pep talk and it's very old school wrestling.
Yeah, it very is. It very much is. So then we're backstage, and Kathy Kelly is trying to get an interview with The Miz, but he's kissing Maurice. It's their anniversary today. So she tells him, happy anniversary, and hands him a card, and he opens it. It's like a gold envelope, and he opens it and goes, is this for real? So this is huge. This is more huge than the half-court shot I hit at the Celebrity All-Star game.
Which didn't count.
Which didn't count, no. And that's what Kathy says.
Yeah, that's great.
And he says, this has to be broken by a credible journalist, not you, Kathy, me, next week on Miz TV. He says, but tonight is about us, so goodbye, Kathy. And so Kathy asks about match against Boogs last week and the match against Seth this week. And Miz says, I'm glad Seth was brought down to earth by my protege, Logan Paul. I brought Logan into WWE. I made him the man he is today. You could say I cost Seth Rollins his WrestleMania dreams. But what's in this envelope? What's in this envelope? It's going to be huge.
What's in the envelope?
I don't know.
I figured like he's just hosting WrestleMania. That's what it is.
It's the gift card to Golden Corral.
Oh, that's even better.
Is it a gold envelope?
Yeah, man. No, that's a good point. Yeah, Golden Corral.
$200 gift card for Golden Corral.
You just have to make sure you get there at the right time. You can't get there between, like, you can't get there for a late breakfast because the breakfast is cold and they haven't put out lunch yet.
You got to get there right when dinner service starts.
If that's what you want, or 4 a.m. But then you got to watch a bunch of old people eat. That's disgusting. Moving on, we had a Cody Rhodes promo, and he comes out and he says, so, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Paul Heyman. So before Cody even got his catchphrase out, Paul Heyman on the Tron wearing a neck brace and both the titles interrupts him. And Cody's like, Mr. Heyman, where are you? And Paul says, right here backstage, sir. He says, so, you got something to say? Why don't you come on out here? Everybody wants to hear. Crowd pops. And he's like, Cody, I was mauled on Saturday by a Kodiak, and the miserable Canadian healthcare system has fixed me, and what should have become a weekend of celebration became a tragedy for the wise man. But I assure you, the true tragedy of this story will befall, sir, upon you. Hear me out. Cody, man to man, face as close as I'm willing to be to face. You can't beat Roman Reigns. They could boo all they want, but let's say hypothetically the stars align and the devil collects my debt, which is a great line. Mm-hmm. He says, let's say Cody Rhodes beats the tribal chief. Then, sir, what will your life be like? Have you ever heard the phrase indentured servitude? Roman Reigns doesn't need to worry about that. He has Paul Heyman. But if you defeat Roman, you won't have Paul Heyman with you. There's 200 days a year on the road defending the title, 50 days doing charity appearances, 30 days overseas promoting the brand of WWE, another 20 promoting pay-per-views. What do we have now? 300 days a year. Those 65 days left, all you have is Zoom calls, meetings. Like your brother Dustin said, Dusty was never home even when he was. Is that the life and sacrifice you're willing to make for these titles? I know you think I'll say something vulgar now, but I won't stoop that low. Roman is a happily married man, but I'm not. And I assure you, Cody Rhodes, because he mentioned it's not here in the notes, but he says, who's going to keep your wife warm? And he says, Roman is a happily married man, but I'm not. And
he really paused. He really paused before.
Yeah, he says, he gets in the camera. He says, but I'm not. And he says, and I assure you, Cody Rhodes, when you find out your WrestleMania dreams become your own personal nightmare. And then he takes off. He does his own mic drop with a lav mic.
Yeah.
Toss it around and he throws it.
Yeah.
And Cody starts pacing around. He's steamed. He is pacing around. Angry. And you can kind of hear, like, he's got the mic kind of near his mouth. He's like, And he says, he looks into the camera. He says, Roman's great. You're great. But I've seen this before. He says, Roman, don't send this man again. We haven't met yet, but we will soon, and I'll repeat it then as I will now. You are the best champion in all of sports. It doesn't change a damn thing. I have to finish the story. I beat you at WrestleMania.
Yep. Cody doesn't get why everything's so personal. He doesn't want it to be personal. He's just trying to win a title.
He just wants to win wrestling titles.
What is he expecting?
Yeah.
Cody's being a bit naive about this.
Mm-hmm. I think so, yeah.
I got to be honest with you. After that, we had Asuka taking on Nikki Cross. It's a fun match. Finish Asuka get the win, locking on the rings of Saturn. Nikki doesn't. Well, she does the verbal tap out. First, she kind of like laughs about being in the move, and then she just screams "Yes!" when the rest asks, "Do you give up?"
Yeah.
And then later on, we had a bit with Nikki that it was interesting. You know, that they've been kind of teasing a Sanity type thing. I mean, she had the Sanity logo on her vest at Chamber. I didn't notice that she had it last night. And then rather than doing more of a tease for Sanity, she said to Candace, essentially, "I got no friends.
All my friends are gone." I kind of dig this because I hope she like sort of lures Candace in, and then they debut Sanity.
Yeah.
And that's, Johnny's on his way back. So I don't know if they're going to do like a mixed tag thing at Mania, maybe Johnny and Candace versus Nikki and Eric Young, maybe.
Oh, yeah. That'd be good. That'd be good.
I'd love that. I think it'd be great.
So before the match began, or right as the match was starting, Bianca comes and sits and watches the match ringside. And after the match, she gets in the ring. They have a stare down, and Bianca raises up the belt and points at WrestleMania. And then Asuka starts kind of coughing.
Yeah.
And then she looks up, and she's got the blue mist just like oozing out of her mouth, and she starts laughing at Bianca. Bianca sold this wonderfully.
She did. It was creepy, and she was creeped out. The only thing that bummed me out about this, they couldn't get Bianca a headset to do commentary. I like most of the time. The only person I don't like doing commentary on matches is Austin Theory, because he whispers everything, and he's not terribly good at improv. But Bianca's been good at commentary before. I love when they bring the wrestlers in to do commentary. I was kind of bummed they didn't, because they kept on showing her, and she was talking a little bit, but like you could only hear it kind of through Corey's mic.
Yeah. It was more just her reactions.
Yeah, I thought
she's really good at too.
Yeah, thought it could have been better for her on commentary. But Asuka needs to get that checked out, man. No, Asuka, it's so much fun to see her just take this next level type shit. It's just, oh man, it's just creepy.
It's great. It's great. And then we're backstage. Got a Carmella interview. Kathy Kelly asked her about WrestleMania, and Carmella says, Chamber was 2 days ago. I don't have a new game plan yet, but I have thought of Asuka. She thinks she can mess with me. I'm going to make Bianca's win a hell of a lot easier because I'm going to knock Asuka out because Mella is money. And so that interview's over. Kathy sees Seth Rollins, so she walks up to him, asks about Logan Paul. Seth says, it's 2 times now Logan Paul has ruined my plans. He thinks it's a game. He wants to call me a clown. Well, Logan, joke's on you. See, Logan may not be very familiar with a certain side of me, but anyone who got in my way knows that side all too well. I'm going to find Logan Paul, and I'm going to hurt Logan Paul. Since he isn't here tonight, the man who wants to take all the credit, Miz, seems like a perfect surrogate for suffering.
I like later on in the show when they show the match card for Carmella versus Asuka, Corey Graves was like, I don't often question what she wants to do, but this is probably a bad idea for Carmella.
Yeah.
I appreciate the boyfriend who is concerned.
Husband.
Oh, they're married, huh?
Yeah.
Oh God, I forgot. Yeah. The concerned husband. I like that. I forget who's married and who isn't. After that we had an MVP promo. So this came kind of out of left field.
Yes.
Because I didn't notice, but because I was sort of fast forwarding through the recap of the Brock stuff at Chamber, did they mention that he's currently suspended or no?
They didn't say anything about suspension. Corey said that,
okay.
that he was sure that Brock would be fined or something like that.
Okay, all right. So MVP has a promo. He says, Brock Lesnar, you coward. You couldn't escape the Hurt Lock, so you got yourself DQ'd. The 7'3", 416-pound Omos is issuing a challenge to face you at WrestleMania. Show up next week in person to accept if you have the intestinal fortitude. I think Brock Lesnar giving an F5 to Omos will be a really impressive feat to witness.
Yeah, and I think we might get that next week.
So you said I didn't want to bring this up, but you can if you want.
I'm somewhat pessimistic this match is going to happen at
really?
WrestleMania. Yeah. I mean, if it does, I won't necessarily be upset about it. I think it'd be a great opportunity for Omos to get in the ring with one of the top superstars in all of WWE. That being said, it is out of nowhere to a degree. You'd think that Lashley, and I think in his promo, he kind of referenced it, still has issues with Brock. You have the Bray Wyatt thing, where he wanted either Brock or Lashley. So yeah, I don't know if it happens. That's cool. I won't be like shocked if it happens, but I'm pessimistic it actually will.
Lashley called out. Well, he mentioned Bray Wyatt.
He mentioned Brock too, didn't he?
He did mention Brock, yeah. But he just had Brock. So I feel like, I don't know. I feel like that's a big match. Brock versus Omos. Omos is he's an attraction. He's a big dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like, what else is he gonna do? He already did Lashley. That was a DQ finish, but the Lashley versus Bray, that's still gonna be weird.
It is gonna be weird.
That's gonna be weird.
I feel like they booked themselves in the corner with the Bray stuff and they didn't really realize how they wanted to go about doing it. And then now they're like, how are we going to go about doing this?
No, but you know what, dude? If Lashley really did say, yeah, I pitched an idea for me to get fat.
Yeah.
That to me says this dude is down to do some cool shit. You know what I mean? Maybe Lashley might be champing at the bit to get in there with Bray and do weird shit. And I'm down for that. I think that could be cool. I think Lashley also has that long career behind him where you can really explore stuff, you know?
Yeah.
So I don't know what they're going to do. It might be weird and crappy, or it might be weird and interesting. But yeah, I think the WrestleMania highlight is Brock. Here's the thing. Next week, Brock's going to try to get him up for an F5. He's going to fail. At Mania, he's going to get it done. That's my prediction. That's my spoiler. Anyway,
I don't know. I feel like we might see the F5 on Omos next week, and Brock gets on the mic, and it's like, Lashley, we're not done yet.
Yeah, maybe. You never know.
Maybe Bray shows up and then just makes things even more convoluted.
Oh, man, too much. After that, we had Seth Rollins versus The Miz. Seth Rollins murdered The Miz in this match. He gave him 3 stomps. What is the deal? Let me ask him, what is the deal with this? So, like, Miz hits a stomp, and then he goes for a second stomp because he's got, like, Logan Paul in his head, right? And And then the ref, instead of calling the match there and saying this match is done, he just gets up and Seth's business and is like, what is he telling him? Stop stomping him? Well, then stop the match, man. Why are you going to make me do a third one to stop the match when you want to stop it now?
If he tells Seth enough, you're not going to stop the match. I consider that a warning to Seth. So if Seth hits Miz with another stomp, then you DQ him.
Yeah, do something, but it's like that's his move. That's illegal.
I know he's not breaking any rules.
By the way, how is a stomp illegal? Like that seems like it really should not be a legal move in pro wrestling. You can't punch somebody with a closed fist, but you can stomp them.
I got an answer for you, man.
It's weird. Anyways,
it is weird. But if it's a situation where you go up to Seth and like, hey, he's done, stop.
Yeah,
and
then you ring the bell.
If he heed your advice, then you disqualify him. But no, he hits the third stomp, and then the ref calls the match and raises Seth's arms.
Yeah,
he wins.
Yeah, it's silly. It was silly. But yeah, Miz got absolutely killed here. After the match, Seth starts dancing again. Carmella's backstage with Pierce, and they set up the match with Asuka next week. He gets a phone call from Chelsea Green. She was sent to Ottawa, Illinois. And she's like, okay, what are you going to do to fix a very, the quote unquote Karen phone call? What are you going to do to fix this? He was like, I don't know how it happened, but hey, we're back in the States next week. I'll figure it out. And she just keeps on going on and on. She's like, you'll figure it out, blah, 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 blah. And she says, sorry, I have a bad connection. It must be Canada. And he hangs up. And then we've got Alpha Academy, and they're looking in a mirror, and Gable's, going over his modeling credentials. And Bronson Reed walks up and says, oi, that's how you get ready for a match. And he says, not only am I a bona fide Olympian, he says, all right, we'll get ready to model a full body cast. And then Otis says, oh, yeah, nobody talks to Gable like that, which is kind of great because I kind of totally want to see these two giant men fight. That's going to be a match right there, Otis and Bronson. You can kind of hear the crowd stir a little bit when you see the idea of these two big dudes about to get it on.
You think so? Maybe Bronson will get a reaction then.
Oi, I just want a reaction.
Didn't get much one last night.
No,
then we got Ding Dong. Hello. Damage Control. So Bailey's there. Dakota, Io. They're all sitting down. And Bailey's like, oh, I'm too excited. I can't sit down. She says, I didn't feel like coming. It felt like sulking after not getting into the chamber match. But today is family day, so I'm spending it with my family. I love you, but these idiots don't love you the way that I do. That's right. You're both so underappreciated. So I want you on here so that the crowd can hear your beautiful voices. And then she says, Dakota, how does it feel to be the greatest women tag champ of all time? And Dakota says, fantastic. We wouldn't be here without you, our role model. We have been able to dominate as champs for over 100 days on every show, and we've beaten everyone. We will dominate for 100 more. So then Becky's music hits. She walks down and says, greatest tag team champs, huh? It's been 9 full moon cycles since you defended them last. They're getting dusty. They got spiders living in them. You two won't coast to WrestleMania because I think I want to take those titles from you. And then Bailey's like, ha ha, you're a jokester. Who, you and your daughter? And then Becky says, well, no one's ready for that level of awesomeness, but there is one person. And then Lita's music hits. She walks down, and no one seems more excited about being teaming with Lita than Becky Lynch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Her enthusiasm for this partnership is palpable. You can see it. It just comes through the screen.
Yeah, absolutely. So I can pick up from here. So anyways, Bailey insists that they have to use the door to get in. So they oblige. They do. I always love when they do that. Bailey's like, what are you doing? You don't even work here. You must be desperate, Lita. Don't you remember you tried to end each other last time you got in the ring with each other? And Becky says, yeah, I already apologized to her. I was acting a bit crazy when gold is on the line. And Lita says, we're past that. She was like, I was set on a 5th title run, and I'll admit it, if I couldn't beat her for it, I like the idea of walking into WrestleMania as champions. So Dakota, Io, this is an official challenge. And Bailey says, you guys aren't even close to earning this. And Becky says, okay, well, hold on a second. She's a 4-time women's champion, a Hall of Famer, et cetera, et cetera. She goes on, says, I think that's good enough. And she says, if you're the greatest, you want to prove it. And that's what Lita says. And then Becky says the same thing. And then she tries to goad Bailey into accepting the match. And then Becky accepts for both of them. And then Lita and Becky sort of take the titles and hold them up. And they throw them back at Damage Control as Lita's music hits.
Yeah, commentary is really pushing that Bailey really put Dakota and Io kind of in the corner, accepting the match on their behalf.
Yeah.
So then we're backstage, and Candice has an interview with Byron, and he asks Johnny's condition, what kind of shape he is after Elimination Chamber, and Candice says he's banged up. But then she notices Nikki Cross runs after her and asks her, "Why do you keep following me?" And Nikki kind of leans in. Candice says, "Next week I got a match against Piper, and I can't focus on that when I got to worry about you following me everywhere. So what's the deal?" So then Nikki leans in and whispers something. And then Candice goes, "What?" And then she tells her again, and then she leaves. And then so Byron comes up and says, "Well, what did Nikki tell you?" And Candice says, "All her friends are gone and she's alone." Well, answer about John, he'll be back.
John. Yeah,
John.
So yeah, Eric Young gonna come back from the dead after getting stabbed to death by Diener.
Different company, didn't happen to WWE. Not
man,
canon.
Absolutely not, man. It's all one universe. After that, we had Chad Gable versus Bronson Reed.
Oh man, Bronson wrecked him.
Yeah, he wrecked him, and it didn't help that Otis was on the outside chatting up Maxine Dupree about his modeling contract, with Chad Gable bizarrely wants as well. But they want Otis, and that distraction led Chad Gable to losing this match via a tsunami.
I will say that ripcord power slam that Bronson did right before the tsunami splash was awesome.
I know, it was pretty cool.
That was great.
Yeah. So yeah, Bronson Reed gets this match. No reaction, but we'll get there. Hopefully, we'll get there.
Yeah, we'll get there. They just need a character and some stories for him.
Yeah, they need. Yeah, exactly.
He delivers in the ring. His matches are always fun. So then, where you got Elias, he's in the ring. He says, "Hello, I'm Elias. Rick Boogs. I hope you're back there taking notes. This is how you do it. This is when legends come out, when stars are made, and there is no bigger star or legend than Elias. So the question is, who wants to walk with Elias at WrestleMania? There's got to be somebody who wants to stand with the greatest performer in them all." Dun, 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 dun.
Well, hold on. Boogs was backstage taking notes. Shows him back there with a little notepad. And he's actually taking notes. Oh, man.
That's pretty great.
I don't know.
You got his thing? That workout thing he has?
No, he was just focusing on his notes.
Gotcha.
And I appreciate that. I'm somehow, some way, they got me to give a shit about Boogs, which is kind of hilarious.
That's something else. Never thought that would happen. So Lashley comes to the ring, obliterates Elias, spine buster, ultimately hurt lock. So then Lashley grabs the mic, says, "Everybody has a plan till I snap that hurt lock in. This past weekend, Brock panicked and had to resort to a low blow. Not Brock Lesnar, not Bray Wyatt, nor Elias. None of them breaks the hurt lock. I won't be disrespected by anyone in this locker room. If you do, I'm going to put you down."
Yeah. You think Bray Wyatt's going to break the hurt lock?
No, but Uncle Howdy might.
I think it'd be great if Uncle Howdy does the.
You can't put the hurt lock if someone's doing this, Steve. He just grabs onto his lapels.
You got to try to break Uncle Howdy's lapel lock.
Yep. Not lapel lock, lapel lock.
Yeah, exactly, the lapel lock. Yeah, I hope maybe he'll do the 2K games teleportation prompt. Yeah. He's in the hurt lock and then the lights go down and he's just behind Brock Lesnar like this. Yep. Or he's phasing through the ropes.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, anyways, commentary mentions all the matches that are going down next week. We got the women's tag match. That's going to be huge. Candice versus Piper Niven. That's going to be a banger match.
Yeah.
And then we're going to find out if Brock Lesnar shows up to take on Omos at WrestleMania. Also, we're going to see Asuka against Carmella. Like I said earlier, Corey very fearful for his wife. And then we're going to find out what's in the secret envelope. Miz TV. Is it a Golden Corral gift card?
It's gold envelope.
Or is it he's going to be hosting WrestleMania, which is probably just going to be like a Miz TV segment at WrestleMania.
Yeah, probably.
With some legends.
A talk show segment at WrestleMania.
Who do you think, given that they're in Hollywood, who do you think is going to be on his talk show segment?
Oh, get Werner Herzog talking about WrestleMania.
Wow. Nobody will know who the fuck that is. Except for you and I. That would be the the biggest market. We'd probably just have to quit going to Raw because it doesn't get any bigger.
No, it doesn't get any better than that. No.
Than that.
Top wrestling moment of all time.
But it's probably just going to end up being Hulk Hogan, man. Oh, Batista. Yeah, it could be Batista.
Oh, I'd be cool with Dave.
That'd be cool with Dave. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Fudgy says the guy from The Mandalorian. Exactly. I'm very disappointed by this. Lou here in YouTube chat, oddly, not even Twitch chat, says that's my Bronson Reed was the worst Australian accent I've ever done.
Wow.
I feel like I've done worse, and I'll be honest with you. If everybody closed their eyes and listened to me do Bronson Reed, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference. I'm telling you.
Before we get to this main event, congratulations to Friendo Dirty Rich. He says to stop in to say baby girl Storm was born a few hours ago.
Oh, cool. Congratulations. That's awesome, Rich. That's cool. Anyways,
got an Edge interview next.
Oh, yeah. So he's backstage with Byron. Byron congratulates him about the win at the Chamber and asks about accepting the open challenge. And he says, Beth's at home now. I can focus on what I wanted when I came back. He says, Austin Theory has the ability to shape the next 2 decades, but does he have the mento? He says sometimes it comes with ignorance, but I'll be cliche. With age comes wisdom. He says, more than anybody, I know this can be taken away like his stupid duck face. I've done everything, but I haven't held a title in a while, and time is running out. My second match was here in this building in 1997. He says, I haven't performed here in 18 years.
Wow.
Would feel good to win here and walk into WrestleMania as U.S. champion. One more cliche, never say never. And then
sorry, Edge.
Mitch.
No belt for you.
No, we saw this coming. Finn Balor distracted at first and then was able to actually hit a kick on him to allow Austin Theory to hit A-Town down. And he got
Austin Theory gets the win.
And then Balor afterwards. Man.
Ooh, this was vicious. The 3 coup de grace.
3 coup de graces.
Yeah.
Grasses. Yeah.
3 of them.
Yeah. I don't know how Finn doesn't absolutely murder his ankles doing that. Or his knees. Because I know he cushions the blow by buckling his knees.
Yeah.
But it all seems bad for knee down.
It does. And that seems to be a move for both participants with little margin for error.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you don't do that, what, you're going to break some ribs maybe?
Oh, man. Yeah, I know. Jeremy here in YouTube chat says, for half a second, I asked myself if that was Jay White that cost Edge the title to make Jay White the first match at WrestleMania. But no, it's going to be Demon Balor.
Jay White showed up Raw after Mania.
I'm Purple Demon. Yeah. Anyways, let's go ahead and answer some questions. Why don't we? I've got a thread right here. I posted these threads last night, and so we've got a lot of questions.
That's good.
And if you're a YouTube channel member, guess what? You get priority. And if you're a patron of $5 and up, guess what? You get priority as well.
You get priority too.
Yeah, that's right. Johnny Night Moves, which is a great name, says it's already plural. I know that, but we also like to make fun of stuff sometimes. Coup de grace, because if it sounds more ridiculous, then it's more fun. That's why we say coup de grace.
Yeah.
Paul Heyman.
Name Explained here asked, do you think Owens and Sami versus the Usos could main event night 1? It definitely could. The story's there for it. I think the crowd would be super into it.
I think it could, but I think they probably should do the Becky, Lita, Trish match. I mean, last year was a Legends thing. It was Stone Cold main eventing night 1. I feel like you do the same thing this year to make the the
or you do Rhea and Charlotte.
Oh yeah, or Bianca Asuka. God damn, there's some good options on the table there.
I know it really is.
Well, let's see here.
That's an interesting question from Ty Moore. Who do you think will walk out of Mania still champion? If Gunther has a Intercontinental title defense, he'll retain.
Gunther for sure.
Austin Theory probably.
Oh yeah, Austin Theory definitely. I would say
maybe Bianca. Maybe.
I think it's like I really want Asuka to win, but I feel like at this point it's like in my mind it's 60-40 Bianca.
Yeah.
I'm afraid that they're simply going to use Asuka as, hey, we're going to put this person in front of you, another person for you to beat at WrestleMania, which I think is a great streak for Bianca.
Yeah.
But yeah, I kind of want it to be Asuka, but I feel like it might pop. I think it's like 60-40 Bianca at this point.
Yeah, agreed. Charlotte's probably going to lose. Rhea's going to win.
Yeah, I think that's gonna happen.
Usos are gonna lose to Owens and Zayn.
Yeah.
Cody will probably win.
Yeah, that's
maybe
probably
a 25% chance Roman retains.
Yeah.
Am I missing any like the women's tag titles? If
we don't even know what's going to happen.
Damage Control still has them as in that 6-woman tag match, and they're not being defended, so they'll still walk out.
Yeah. Sean Lathrop here with the super chat says, "You two have a one-on-one match in ACW. Who would be your individual trainers to make it to at least a 2-star match?"
Wow.
I train at
asking a lot.
I train at the Ugly Dojo.
Good.
Yeah, Big Ugly. He trained me.
Good. Man,
I'm just thinking local. You can go to the next level school.
All right, I can do that.
He trained with Joe DeSoul, man.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah. Odd Breakfast here says, with Kevin Owens mentioning Sammy's relationship with Jay, do you think Jay's probable eventual betrayal will be the final straw to bring them together, or will it be something else? No, I think Jay's going to factor heavily into Sammy and Kevin Owens having to team up again. Yeah, I don't know how all that's going to go down. You know, you and I have both been on kind of the same page with Roman manipulating Jay again, but at this point, I don't know if he'll need to. I think it might be more interesting if Jay comes back around to the bloodline himself and says, man, I was in your corner and then you speared me and I look like a complete asshole. Like he could put this entire thing on Sammy and double down on, man, no, I'm sticking with my family, you know?
Yeah. Or I mean, it might not even be like the bloodline as a whole. It could be a situation where you're trying to take down the bloodline, which involves my brother.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
You know, and I can't turn my back on my brother.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like going into this match, Jay has to be conflicted.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
Incredibly conflicted. Linus Moses here on Patreon asked, do you think they could stretch the Sami Zayn story out to next year, have him win the 2024 Rumble to face and beat one of the title holders, assuming the titles are split at WrestleMania? I mean, I suppose it's possible. I think if they take the momentum Sami has and tell good stories with him in this iteration of his character, yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
That's a possibility. Will it happen? I don't know, but it's possible. Sami has shown repeatedly that he has the ability to get the crowd behind him.
Yeah, for sure. They just need to, you know, the toughest thing is going to be following up the bloodline story. Mm-hmm. It really is, you know. Lincoln Phoenix asks, what's our favorite fruit?
I really don't eat fruit by itself much anymore.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So because of that, I'd probably say blueberries, because if I make like pancakes or waffles, blueberries are going in there.
Probably the fruit that I enjoy the most is probably banana.
Yeah, I also put banana in my waffles.
Get like a jar of peanut butter with it, and you can make banana bread with it.
Yeah, banana bread's really good.
Yeah. Okay, so Jack Williams already answered your question about main eventing night 1. Jonathan Vieira says, if Roman is to ever turn face, should his redemption involve seeking forgiveness from Jimmy and Jay? Yeah, and that'll be a hell of a moment.
Yep.
Roman having to prove himself back to the family members that he manipulated the shit out of should be like a year-long story into itself. Yeah.
Sebastian Garcia asks, what are some tag teams you think should never break up? FTR. I mean, Dax has said this next run is going to be their last run.
I don't know if I want a singles run from the Usos.
No, they were next on my list, Usos.
Yeah, the Usos I don't think should ever break up. Man.
Probably the Young Bucks.
This is a great question here from TY. Says...
Yoshihashi and Hiroki Goto should be a tag team in perpetuity.
They better lose those titles to Okada and Tanahashi. They better lose those titles. Give me a break. You see the match card or just like the image? I'm like, two literal wrestling gods.
I know. You see the look on. I wonder if they picked that image of Yoshihashi where he looks scared in the picture.
He does. He does. TY says, what does LA Knight do at WrestleMania?
Interrupts Miz TV.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, give him a talk show. Have him host WrestleMania.
I know.
Except he buries everybody. Let's see here. Antonio Caneo says, I was listening to the Elimination Chamber recap and agreed with you, with me, about the whole Seth Rollins Logan Paul situation. It's going to be a great match, but I'm not going to care about it because I have no interest in Logan Paul. What can the WWE do to get us excited for the match? Like, is there anything they can do to get us excited about Logan Paul?
No. The match will be good, and I'll enjoy it while it's on, but no.
That replay they did of him at the Chamber, he has got a great buckshot lariat.
He does.
That guy is super athletic.
He's explosive.
He really is. That buckshot lariat. I think about anybody else doing it, including Hangman Page, and I love Hangman Page, but it's like everybody does the thing where you go over and you stop, and it's like, no, but this dude has found a way to flip over the rope and keep momentum.
I know.
Like, it's nuts. It's nuts.
Pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, just show that to me over and over again, and eventually I'll get into it.
Eventually, yeah. Patrick Sparks here asks, how would you book a Randy Orton return on the Raw or SmackDown after WrestleMania?
Oh, man. He comes out and RKO's Cody when Cody's doing a celebration. That's how you do it. Because Cody was part of the legacy.
Yep.
Alvin Jones says, here you go. With Omos challenging Lesnar, it's a Hurt Business trap, right?
Sorry, say again.
Alvin Jones is asking, Omos challenging Lesnar, it's a trap from the Hurt Business.
Oh, maybe, and maybe that's what we see on Raw next week.
That could be. Is Omos going to be the new alpha of the Hurt Business, and Lashley's just not going to be in it?
I thought about that, where Lashley just continually, declines, and then MVP says, "All right, well, we're going forward. It's going to be Shelton. It'll be Cedric. It'll be Omos, and it'll be Carmelo Hayes." Yeah. What an interesting question.
From that guy Forte. Says, does Sami Zayn go into the WWE Hall of Fame with the bloodline?
Wow, great question. Yes.
So it's not going to be for 15 years.
Yeah, it's not going to be for a while. But if the bloodline goes in, you got to put Sami in, because at the point where the bloodline was starting to maybe get a little stale, they introduced Sami and got what? 8 months, 9 months of absolutely captivating story out of it.
Yeah.
So absolutely.
And here's the thing, between now and then, they will 1,000% do the thing where everybody's sort of gone their separate ways. They've done a bunch of other stuff, and then they'll all have a reunion moment of sorts, and
they all put the ones up
when they're all going to be faces, and they'll all put the ones up again, and people will go absolutely crazy for it. Absolutely.
Edward Munoz has a long question. We've kind of covered this, but we can give a brief answer. It says, Brian Alvarez was on a good one last night, arguing on Twitter about how there was no good reason for them to not make Sami champion. Alternatively, Raj Giri said if they gave the belt to Sami and or Drew prior, it would have been just for pops. It may not have been good in the long run. Plus, Roman losing at Elimination Chamber, a B-tier pay-per-view 2 months before Mania, would have diluted Cody's win. What are your guys' takes on those sides, and where do your feelings on the subject fall? I think we've been pretty clear that we fall on like the latter side of that argument. As far as Alvarez saying there's no good reason for them not to put the title on Sami, that I don't think that's true. I think there's a lot of good reasons to not do it, and I think we're going to see that as the story plays out and we get to WrestleMania. I think it'd be pretty clear that the right choice was ultimately made.
Yeah, the reason is simple. It'd be a terrible story beat, and it'd be a good one-time pop, and then he'd come out with the titles. And then what do you do from there? Like I don't, there's a lot of bad takes out there in the internet wrestling community with people who have a platform. Raj Giri is one of those who sometimes he'll make a good point, but the reasons behind the point, I'll just be like, what? Because when I saw a tweet from him where he said something like, Sami winning would be the bad move because he couldn't see Sami as a legitimate contender against Brock Lesnar and other big people like that. And I'm like, Well, Sami winning would have been a bad move storyline wise, but that's not the reason.
Yeah, and it's interesting that Alvarez and Meltzer are pointing out one metric, ratings, in terms of saying, well, Sami should win the title.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, like, you can't buy Cody merch because everybody else has already bought it.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like Cody's segments don't do numbers either. I mean, and if you're determining who should win titles strictly on those particular metrics, you're ignoring probably the most important criteria, which is how it fits in the story being told.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And I'm not like, personally shitting on anybody. Wrestling takes are wrestling takes. They're stupid. They're silly. And it's fun that we can all argue about wrestling takes, but my God, there's some silly ones out there. So anyways, yeah. Anyways, that's going to do it for now. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Well, just get back to it. It is kind of funny because like when you watch a Cody segment and you see the crowd, they are firmly pro Cody.
Yeah.
They chant his damn name all the time. Like it's a good problem to have where you have two guys who are wildly over with the crowd. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. I still think there's a segment of people who are like kind of traumatized from the Vince years where Vince, it's like, man, you see something clear. But with Vince so often, it was like, you see where this story should go. Why aren't you going there? Yeah. Now, like you see where the story should go and they're going there. And the story, I'm sorry, but we talked about this yesterday and we're putting the clip up today on the Friendo Club TV because I think it's a good little bit. Sami's story doesn't necessitate and it kind of precludes him from winning those titles at Elimination Chamber. Like that's just not where his story should go. His motivation isn't the WWE title.
No.
It's not what the motivation is. It's to get respect.
Yep.
So, yeah. But yeah, Dark Reign here in Twitch chat, it comes down to one simple fact. You don't end a run like Roman's anywhere other than night 2 of WrestleMania.
Yep.
That's where it's WrestleMania. It's literally 40 days away.
Yep.
That's one great reason not to do it Elimination Chamber because it's a huge moment.
Yeah. Yep.
So, yeah, I don't know. It's all wrestling. It's all silly. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We appreciate it. Till next time, we'll talk to you later.
Goodbye.